The Russian security services have put their hand on the person that unalived the Russian general, Igor Kirillov. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for choosing us again. You are very much appreciated. We love you so much. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and we're making videos for you. Props to the team. Congratulations. Let's clap hand. You clap hand. Clap hand to the team. Clap hand to the team. Yeah, these guys are very strong, trying to keep you updated. Of course, many of you come into this channel twice a day, sometimes 3 times, to see what we have to say. And we appreciate that. Now, for you, a sign of recognition to the work these guys are doing, please do subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And drop a comment. Leave a comment. I want to say something. Tell us where you are, where you're following us from. It's going to be much appreciated. It's going to push the video further and make sense to the people behind the camera. All right. So a few days ago, we talked about a Russian general, senior general, that was unalived by an explosion. And it was a very sad, very dramatic situation to see. But guess what? The Russians have put their hand on the guy that organized that. Apparently, it was a young man from Azerbaijan that was clearly sent by Ukraine. You know, all fingers were pointing towards Ukraine. And this young man was promised a few things by the Ukrainians, including a passport to a European country and $100,000. So let's find out very quickly what this guy is all about. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was unalived on Tuesday morning by a bomb hidden in an electric scooter parked in the entrance of his apartment block in southern Moscow. As he left his office, Kirillov's assistant was also unalived by the same attack. The bomb was triggered remotely, according to the Russian Federation security. The explosion was caught on video from a camera mounted inside the car, showing the man walking out the building at a furious blast. So what apparently happened was, this man from Uzbekistan that was hired to do this work came and took an electrical scooter, used a homemade bomb, put it in an electrical scooter, then kept the electrical scooter right next to the entrance of the building where stayed this very powerful general from Russia. He then hired a car, and with that car he installed a camera with Wi-Fi so he could stream live from the car, seeing to the entrance of the building. And on the other hand, it's from Ukraine, looking through the cameras mounted in a car, that they would detonate the bomb exactly when the general and his assistants came out of the building. Kirillov, 54 years old, was the chief of Russian Radiation, Biological, Chemical Protection Forces. These special troops are tasked with protecting military from the enemy use of nuclear, chemical and biological weapons, and ensuring operations in a contaminated environment. He was under sanction from several countries, including the UK, Canada, for his action in Moscow's war in Ukraine. On Monday, Ukraine Security Services, or the SBU, opened a criminal investigation against him, accusing Kirillov of directing the use of banned chemical weapons. But this man was tasked with special activities from the military, and he was under sanction from many countries. So he was somebody strong enough that these countries knew who he was. And the Ukrainian, a few days before that, had opened a criminal investigation against him, accusing him of directing the use of a banned chemical in Ukraine. So Ukraine accuses Russia of using chemical weapons during some of their attacks. And the chemical weapons department obviously was guided by Kirillov. So Kirillov was inducted in Ukraine. A couple of days later, he was unalived by this special guy that they promised $100,000 and a passport to a European country.
Я приехал в Москву по заданию украинских спецслужб. Я приехал, потом я покупал самокат и через несколько месяцев приехал вещи для бомбы.
Now the question you have to ask yourself is this one. Can Ukraine promise somebody a passport to a European country without the European country agreeing to it? The European country now has not been named. However, clearly, we don't get all the information. There are information that the Russians have, but they choose to keep it classified. So what we know is clearly the man could not have gotten a promise to a European passport without the European country agreeing to that. Therefore, this making the European country complicit of the unaliving of the general of Russia, who has claimed responsibility. An SBU official said on Tuesday that the agency was behind the attack. The official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to release this information, described Kirillov as a war criminal and an entirely legitimate target. So because Kirillov obviously was the head of this department that dealt with nuclear and chemical and biological weapons in Russia, it was for the Ukrainians a legitimate target. Who has been detained? The FSB said on Wednesday it detained a suspect, describing as a citizen of Central Asian nation Uzbekistan, who was born in 1995. He was identified as Akhmad Kurbanov. According to the FSB, the suspect said he was recruited by the Ukrainian Special Force. The suspect has been promised $100,000 and resettlement to a European Union country in exchange for the killing of Kirillov. So clearly, a guy born in 1995 is under 30 years old, with so much dreams, coming from a Central Asian country, probably hunger and difficulties and stuff like that. Being promised $100,000 plus a European passport, it's such a beautiful opportunity for him. And not to say that he wasn't conscious of things that he was doing, because if you're going to unalive somebody as big as that one, you're certainly going to bear the consequences, and you certainly weigh the consequences. So the agency said the guy was acting under the command of Ukraine. He went to Russia where he received a homemade bomb. Clearly, fellas, you can see that Ukraine has got his hands inside Russia. If they can send somebody in Russia, and inside Russia they can get a homemade bomb, so they can execute something as drastic and film it live. So the guy installed a camera on the car that he hired with Wi-Fi streaming live to Ukraine. And it is from the Ukraine that they detonated the bomb that unalived this person and his secretary. So what does this mean to everybody? This means simply that the Ukrainians are very close. Their spying service and intelligence is very strong. If they were capable of executing such a great move for them, props to their capacity. Now, Russia has promised to retaliate. How are they going to do this? Are they going to shoot missiles into Ukraine? Or are they going to do attacks that are very similar? Let me remind you, fellas, that Russia has condemned this and called it an act of terrorism. Remember, a few weeks ago, Ukraine shot long-range missiles inside Russia, and Russia retaliated by shooting the Oshnik missile, which scared everybody. And later after that, Ukraine did not use those long-range missiles the way the world expected them to use it. Why? Because clearly they were scared, afraid of the reaction of the Russians. But now they're using different sort of tactics, trying to unalive superiors and respected generals of Russia. So that's what it is, fellas. This young man, clearly so much passion and so much ambition, looking forward to receiving $100,000. I don't know if they paid him before. I hope he got paid before. At least he sent the money to his family, because if he didn't, sorry, brother, because ain't nobody going to get $100,000 for you after you are arrested. There is no chance. Taking such a massive risk, going into Russia, recuperating a homemade bomb, hiring a car, installing a Wi-Fi with a camera, streaming live to Ukraine and detonating the bomb, unaliving somebody very important to the Russian army. Very interesting. The Russians can see that the Ukrainians are present. There is a sense of fear inside of Russia. It's clear. Because these people, whether it's Dmitry Peskov or the previous Russian president that speaks very strongly against Ukraine, you can clearly say that nobody is too far away from the hand of Ukraine. So the Ukrainians have the ability of execution. So also, respect to the Russians for their ability to arrest this guy that executed this almost perfect move. How did they catch him? How do they know about him? How do they locate him? Those are big questions we probably will never understand. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.